He's still working with I got a bit of fright there. He's still working with the medical department, and he'll join us tomorrow, hopefully. But we're still unsure whether he'll make it or not.
If he doesn't make it tomorrow, do you think he'll be all right for you?
Well, he's making really good progress, so we're hopeful that he'll be involved on Saturday. But we've got such big games coming up tomorrow. Saturday is one of them. But as you know, the European games are huge, so we just have to be kind of guided by him. We'll push him as much as we can because he's been really important for us. But we take no risks if he's not feeling 100%.
Rest of the squad?
Good. Yeah, the rest of the squad's good. We Bailey Rice took a knock in the game at Dundee, but showed a wee bit of guts and determination to stay on as we couldn't make any more substitutes. And I think he's another one that's making progress. Might have joined us today, so we'll just need to find out with the medical team tomorrow morning.
Barry said after the Dundee match, he'd seen old habits creep out, was going to speak to the players about. What have the coaching staff said to the players needs to improve if you're to get a result this weekend?
Well, obviously we can't divulge what we said about our thoughts on maybe Barry's comments about being bad habits creeping back. And I think the difficult thing for us is that having the short space of time we've been in the doors, we've actually thrown an unbelievable amount of information at them. I think you'll all recognise that we've wanted to change shape a number of times, not only from the start of matches against different opposition, but during matches when we felt it maybe wasn't going right. So it's obvious that old coaching habits, maybe things that they've been encouraged to do previous to us coming in will still remain as a kind of hard wire, and it's up to us that if we don't like those, we'll try and change them. But they have to take a wee bit of time. Or we're all aware that it will take a wee bit of time to get that information into them. So it's second nature. It's about repetition. Unfortunately, we don't have a great deal of time before the end of the season, but we work hard every day in training for them to try and take that information on board.
You mentioned a number of times that the shape's changed within the game. Is that something that, as a coaching staff, you might be trying to limit going forward?
With what? Sorry?
You might be trying to limit going forward in terms of changing the shape of the game?
If we set out a plan that we think can work from the start, it'd be lovely for that to see that through. But teams will change against you if it's going well, and sometimes you need to counter that. I think that's one thing that the group have been really good on. They've been accepting of changes made in a game. I think they've shown an ability to be adaptable in a game as well. We've all got ideas in the game. We set out our shape, our tactical plan, how we think it might work out. Nothing is perfect in a game of football. You don't play against 11 robots. They're trying to get the upper hand. There are players maybe playing really well and ask us more questions. But I don't think it's about having a set way of playing and thinking that's going to get your results right through. I think it's really good to be flexible. We've shown already going to Fenerbahce and playing a different manner. We've gone to Dundee, played different ways. We've started at home against Motherwell. That didn't work out too well. So it shows that, our thought process of trying to get a result isn't always our way. It's sometimes an opposition can dictate how that's going, and you have to just be willing. Probably, I think that's one of the things that the gaffer's shown. Fergie's shown that he's prepared to change it. He's not prepared to just change personnel and think that will work. Because sometimes it's very obvious it isn't working and we have to change it. Well, obviously, right up to a point, the away form was an issue. The level of consistency was always what was spoken about. I always felt that watching it that there was really good players there, but sometimes an opposition would ask them questions, particularly away from home, and they really struggled at times to answer it. I think we have shown now, going away from home, that sometimes it requires a wee change, Robert, in terms of that formation. I think the information that we have given them as well, I'd like to think that having analysed everybody in the league this season through my previous job, that you've got good knowledge of what can work, but as I said, that can be dictated to by the opposition. But I think our ability to change shape, I think the information we've given them, we absolutely have changed how we attack, but we're still conceding goals. And as a coaching staff, that's absolutely something that we've got to try and eradicate. We can't give, and I know you all have the stats there, you can't keep on giving opposition 1 goal, but never mind 2 goals of a start. But on the flip side of that, I think we're showing that we've got a wee bit of guts about us, a wee bit of determination. There's something about the group that we've all been really pleased about and how they're reacting in games. Even when you think about the Motherwell result that we were on the end of at Ibrox, we changed the shape again and they reacted well, and probably maybe a wee bit unlucky not to come away with something from the game. But so there's a mindset that I think the gaffer was wanting to change coming in. He felt that had to be switched a wee bit, and I definitely believe that we've got something there.
That your Steve talking about, is that something that you should focus on with these big games? Because there's been that.
Every game, Robert, to be honest, has to be showing that character. There needs to be a real willingness to win. There needs to be, sometimes you've got to dig deep, because not always is it going to go well for you, as I spoke about earlier. And a game can be won in an ugly manner, in terms of sometimes you've got to roll your sleeves up, you've got to be prepared to put your foot in. Sometimes you have to go right to the end and show that you've got a wee bit left in the tank. That can be difficult at times, particularly like you look at the Dundee game, for example, when we go back to 3-1 down and we've missed a number of chances. Maybe in the past, maybe that wouldn't have been able to have been brought back. I know Fergie speaks about that after the match. But the pleasing thing for us is placing that demand on them, just to the inner resolve that just to keep going and believe they're going to score, because we've worked really, really hard in the time we've been in here on attacking phases, on positions out of possession. But obviously there's still a lot of work to be done there.
Can I ask you about Cyril? Because I think after the game at the end you looked a bit pleased for him.
Delighted.
Understandably, you must see what he does behind the scenes here and working closer.
Aye.
What have you made of him? Because he's still confused opinion in a lot of ways.
He will always divide opinion, Cyril, because he will miss chances in games, and I think that's the life of a striker. I said to him I was so proud of him after the game, because he literally did not stop making runs, and we're always asking him to make runs and continue to believe he's going to score. I told him at half time I believed he was going to score. We just have to keep making chances for him. And you hear it all the time, and it is a cliche, and it isn't, because you hear about the best strikers saying that if he's not getting chances, you start to worry that a team's not creating, but we are creating for Cyril. I've been so impressed by him, I have to say. I had an outside opinion of him. I just thought he was a brilliant guy. I could definitely be quoted along the lines of always saying he looks a brilliant teammate. And if you can be a brilliant teammate, it's so important to your group, because you can rely on the work rate is never going to dip. Yes, he might have an off day, but I was particularly pleased for him, not only for getting back in the 4-3, but for him personally to get that goal. You saw actually his celebrations, how much it meant to him, but he's a really important member of the group.
Neil, what's your own position in terms of how long you would like to stay at the club?
I haven't even listen, this is a coal face, and every footballer will probably tell you, well, not every footballer, because a lot of people actually don't want to have a go at this, but I love it. There's nothing better than being on the touchline, on the training ground, preparing for a game. There's nothing better. I love my time at Dundee, I love my time at Inverness. It's taken a different avenue afterwards. I haven't looked any further forward. You can't, because the contract is a contract, and we're in here to do a job, and as I've said there, we're working very, very hard at it. What we're charged with is making improvements to the group, make improvements to the individuals, get the fans back seeing a team that is really, really fine, just saying they're showing all the qualities that you have to have as a Rangers player. It's not just about being a good footballer. Most of the time, players come to this club and they should already be marked as a good player, having the right ability to play for Rangers. But there's a lot more ingredients going to actually being a successful Rangers player, and we're trying to inject that into them.
You've obviously known Barry a long time, that's why he brought you in. Have you seen a different side to him, or anything that's kind of surprised or impressed you more?
No, I've not seen any different side. I've known Fergie for a long time now. He's trying to bring the character that he had as a player, the demand as he had as a player. Dodds is the same, Griggs is the same, Isam's existing for us coming in. But on the whole, the four guys that have come in here, we all probably share that probably real fighting Scottish spirit that I think is good, because the group got it right away. They understood the message in the first training session was very, very clear, what we expected. It's never been let go. It's relentless in terms of what we expect from them, work rate, intensity in training. I think that's maybe something that they've had to adjust to, because we found that in the first week or two we were driving them really, really hard, and it was taking a lot out of them. But we felt that we had to hit levels that we expected them to see in order to then face your opposition. So yeah, Fergie's no changed in any way. Still moaning, but I think we're all like a wee moan. But it's done in a manner that, as a staff, we work very, very hard in terms of coming up with the right plan. And sometimes it doesn't always work. But what we're good at is having a second and third option, and the players are able to adapt to that, which is great. We don't leave anything. We've got this place here, and we show them everything, possibilities. But like every football team, as soon as they cross the line, they make a split-second decision. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right.
Neil, what's the most training we've got out there, Neil, with your work rate and mentality cycle, that if this management team wasn't to stay on next season, would that almost be your parting gift, if you like, to the next team?
What you want to do is, we've been charged, though, as I said there, is improving the group, improving individuals, and hopefully you've got a lasting effect on that demand of what is expected at this football club. A draw is not a good result at Rangers. It just isn't domestically. You know, if you go away from home in a European tie, you get a draw and you come back to Ibrox and you fancy your chances. But the whole DNA of this club has not been lost on the four of us coming in, certainly. And I think that's something that the players have embraced. They really have embraced it. Whether they take it all on board is another thing, but we have to keep hammering that home and equally try to make them better footballers. And it's not just all about the character. We have to try and make them better footballers. And we're three very different type of players. So with that, you can actually get a hold of a lot of the squad and offer them a lot of advice. Wingers, strikers, midfielders, and then you chip in with some defensive stuff as well.
You say that DNA, Neil, is that lost somewhere on the line?
Sorry? I
I
can't speak from the previous, because I've not been in here. It's sometimes you get a wee bit of a shock's not the right word, but you get surprised actually when you come into an environment and you get to know people personally. You've maybe got a formed opinion, and sometimes you need to change that opinion because you read somebody totally wrong. And that's something that we need to be open to as a coaching staff as well. It's not just coming in here and batting through a straight line and anybody that deviates from it is cast aside. It's not that. But I don't know what it was like. We've all heard stories in the past of what was going on in the background. Where we only have fresh eyes, and actually when I'm doing my punditry stuff, watching the team, and I just felt maybe towards the latter end of Philippe's tenure that I felt that the group lacked a wee bit of spark at times for me, a wee bit of energy, a bit of tempo and aggression in their play, and that was something that we tried to set out very, very early when coming in.
Does Jack Baldwin's character, Neil's coming for a wee bit of criticism behalf of the goal conceded at Dundee last week?
Life of a goalkeeper, same as Big Cyril, coming under pressure, missing chances. You make a mistake as a goalkeeper, invariably it ends up in the back of your net. That's a confidence thing. I leave Griggsy to get on with that, with Con. And he never seems to be a player that you have to work too hard to pick up. He's very, very professional. I think he speaks brilliantly well. Really smart guy, takes information on. Unfortunately, individual errors he'll have to deal with personally. Of course, we'll still place the same demand on a goalkeeper as we will the outfield players. They don't escape that, and he doesn't try to run away from it either. He's very forthright and fronting up to his mistakes, and that's the same for all of our players. They're very forthright and just accepting ownership if they make mistakes. And we're not showing them mistakes, particularly outfield players. It's obvious for goalkeepers, but if we're coming in here after a match, we do a lot of work in preparation in terms of showing them where they could have done better, and hopefully that will minimise mistakes.
If you're asked about Barry's credentials for this job long term, what would you say are his number one credentials essentially for him? Why if he was to get a job, should he get a job?
It's honestly, it's no my place to tell if it is a new ownership that come in who's to get the job. What I would say is that I've been very impressed by how he wants to work. His willingness to allow Dodgy and I a lot of say on the training field and in matches. And I think what he's shown already, that a lot of people maybe thought from his coaching CV that he maybe wouldn't even be ready to even take this position. I think he's proved that wrong. So it's not my place to tell anybody who's to get the job or not. As I said, all we can do is work hard, and I don't think anybody in this building will tell you anything different.
Do you think that the way the team performs from now until the end of the season could dictate what the powers that be decide in terms of the next management team?
Well, of course it could have an influence, aye. And you would hope that there's an influence already been happening, because they felt they had to make a change, the board already, and then the new ownership. We don't know what that's going to look like, but when a team makes a change, or a board makes a change for a management team, then clearly they're looking for a reaction immediately. They want results, and all we can do is try and get them for them.
You were saying that Barry kind of getting the job, get the job, and he was ready for that. Do you feel he's ready if he was to do a long term? He's ready for that?
Well, as in-house, speaking to Fergie and as a coaching staff, none of us are frightened of a challenge. Not one of us. And if it was to be presented to us, I don't think there'd be any of us to say, no, it's not for us. But as I said, it's too far in the distance to even encourage that. As I said many times, and already in this, we've got a huge game coming up against Hibs, who are 15 unbeaten in the league. Play a certain way under David side. I'm absolutely delighted for him. I spoke to him actually previous to me coming in here, because I know what it's like being a new manager. Looking at Big Alan there, Dundee fan, and it's not straight cut. It's not easy, and you've got ideas, and sometimes it takes a wee bit of time before new players bed in and new ideas bed in. And I'm delighted for David, because he's certainly coached a very good side, and they've got it going at the minute.
Coming into the season, you have to go back to the preliminary job. Are you okay with that, or is this giving you the spark you talking about wanting to be back involved in football?
I love football. I love being on the side of the pitch. I love coaching. I love the whole strategy and management. I've loved my time already in here. Being part of Rangers is something that I'm very proud of. I was as a player. I've had a chance to come back in and put the badge back on again as a coaching team, and that's great. If I need to go back to punditry or another life, I'll give it 100% as well.
Last one, Alan. I know it's been a few weeks. Can you explain how you felt when Barry phoned you on Sunday?
Surprised. The first thing is surprise, because obviously I didn't expect it to be coming. And then of course the question, then when I got a phone call on Monday from the club to say would you be interested, then clearly there's an excitement there. And yeah, it's not an opportunity I thought was going to come, but I couldn't wait. I literally couldn't wait to get into work. And it's been like that since the start. It's early starts, it's late finishes, but it's so good being back involved again.
Neil, can I just ask you, there's a lot of talk about reconstruction this week. You've had that media experience and also management now coaching. Do you think the status quo is good enough, or would you like to see any tweaks made to the structure?
I've always liked the idea of a wee bit bigger league, how that's configured is everybody's guess, but I think we've got teams that would enhance the top league. I know a lot of people say there was dead rubber, but I believe that you can always get something from that, whether it's introduction of young boys, whether it's more places up for grabs, a couple of relegation places in a playoff position. There's ways of trying to find the middle ground, but the most important thing, if it was bigger, would be, I see it being more opportunity for young boys to be cut in, because maybe it would take away a lot of the fear factor that exists right now. But I think it's a very good league. I like the split. I've always been one that I said like the split. I've been involved in it with Dundee. Don't fear it. Didn't fear it. So I think there's loads of discussions whether it's going to be a 10, 12, 14, 16. But I've got enough on my plate right now to get my teeth into that. Look.
That's us, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Just in terms, you talked about David Gray's, how he's turned it around. How do you expect them to come at you on Saturday?
Don't know. I'm actually sick watching Hibs, to be honest. I've watched so much of their games, as all the coaching staff have all taken their stuff away. We're pretty well versed in how they play. I think they've got their success from a certain shape. Maybe this interview might spook Davey into doing something different, but I really can't see it because they've got something going. They've got some really good players there. I think they've got an understanding and a belief about the group. They're going to pose a very hard challenge for us at Ibrox, but they need to be ready for one back because we've been working extremely hard to get our boys into shape. We are playing that we think can get Rangers 3 points on Saturday.